Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today we'll be starting with the verse number 283, ruku number 7 of part 2 of the Holy Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوا وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى وليأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم. So it's a long verse. A very important instruction has been given, and another point that I'd like to maybe discuss later on today when we go through the translation about the testimony. First of all, let's go through the word-to-word translation. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe. Ya ayyuha, O you, alladhina, those who, amanu, they believed. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, idha when tadayantum. Idha when tadayantum, you borrowed from one another. You borrowed from one another. Tadayantum, you borrowed from one another. That's it's a new word. So please familiarize yourself with this word, tadayantum. The word then also comes from this, and which is also used in Urdu. Tadayantum, you borrowed from one another. Bidainin, that word is being repeated. Bidainin, with loan. Actually came from the Arabic language into Urdu. Bidainin, with loan. Ila ajalin musamma. Ila, till ajalin, period musamma, fixed. Ila ajalin musamma, When you give borrowed loan from one another till a fixed period, faktubuhu, then you write it down. You write it down. Faktubuhu, you write it down. Then you write it down. Wal yaktub, and let he write. Let he write. Let he write. Bainakum, between you. Between you. Bainakum. Katibun, just scribe. Katibun, scribe. Bil adli, with justice. Bil adli, with justice. Wala, and not. Ya'ba, he refuses. Katibun, scribe. And the scribe should not refuse. An yaktuba, that he writes. That he writes. Kama, as allamahu, he taught him. Allah. And the katib, the scribe, should not refuse to write the way Allah has taught him. Fal yaktub, so let him write. Fal yaktub, so let him write. Wal yumlili, and let him dictate. Many of you know who actually know the Urdu language, probably aware of the word imla, again coming from the same root, yumlili. Imla, let him dictate. So let him dictate. Alladhi, he who, alayhi, upon him, al-haqqu, liability. So the liability is upon him. Waliyattakillahi, and he should fear Allah. The word ittiqa, taqwa, is a different formation here. And waliyattaki, and he should fear Allah. Rabbahu, his Lord. Wala, and not. Yabkhas, he diminishes. Wala yabkhas, he should not diminish, minhu, from it, shay'an, anything. He should not diminish anything from it. But in if kana, it was alladhi, he who, alayhi, upon him, al-haqqu, liability. Al-haqqu, liability. Safihan, unwise. Safihan, unwise. O da'ifan, weak. O, or la yastati'u, he has the capacity. La yastati'u, he has capacity. And that yumilla, he dictates. Again, the same word but different formation. Here it was yumlili, here yumilla, he dictates. Huwa, he, fal yumlil, then let him dictate. Fal yumlil, then let him dictate. Waliyuhu, his guardian. Waliyuhu, his guardian. Again, we use the word wali, same where a word in Arabic as well, coming from the Arabic language. Bil adli, with justice. If we pay attention, especially those of us who have the background of Urdu language, we would mostly understand what is being said if we pay close attention. Adl is the word, but a little bit with different extra words, letters have been used. Bil adli, with the justice. The word adl is also used. Wastashhidu, and you call to witness. Wastashhidu, you call to witness. Shahidain, two witnesses. Shahidain, two witnesses. Mir rijalikum, from your men. Mir rijalikum, from your men. Fa in, if, then if. Lam, not. Yakuna, they are both. Rajulaini, two men. Rajulaini, two men. Farajulun, then one man. Va, and imra'atan, two women. Mimman, of such as, tardawna, you like. Minash shuhada'i, from witnesses. Minash shuhada'i, from witnesses. Tadilla, and if tadilla, she forgets. Ihdahuma, one of them. If one of them forgets, fatudhakkira, Then the second one, she reminds. وَتُذَكِّرَ, then she reminds إِهْدَاهُمَا, one huma of both. The second one is there to remind her. Al-ukhra, the other. Wala, and not. Ya'ba, she should refuse. Ash-shuhada, with the witnesses. Either when, ma, what, that, du'u, they were called. When they were called, the shuhada, the witnesses, should not refuse. Wala, and not. Tas'amu, you feel weary. You should feel tired. And that taktubuhu, you write it. Saghiran, small, or kabiran, or large. Ila, towards. Ajalihi, its appointed time. Ajalihi, its appointed time. Dhalika, this is. Aqsatu, more just. Aqsatu, more just. Inda rabbihim, in the Allahi, in the sight of Allah. Wa aqwamu, and surer, aqwamu, surer, excuse me, lishahadati, for the testimony, and surer for the testimony. Wa adna, and more likely. Allah, that not. Tartabu, you doubt. Illa, except. Tartabu, you doubt. Illa, except. An, that. Takuna, it is. Tijaratan, trading. Tijaratan, trading. Hadiratan, hand to hand. Hadiratan, hand to hand. Tudirunaha, you give it or take it. You give it or you take it. Tudirunaha, you give it or you take it. Bainakum, between you. Falaysa, so no. Alaykum, upon you. Junahun, sin. Laysa alaykum junahun, so no sin is upon you. Allah, that not. Taktubuha, you write it. So there is no sin if you don't write it. Wa, and. Ashhidu, you have witness. You have witnesses. Ida, when. Tabayatum, you traded. When you traded, tabayatum, you traded. Wala, and no. Yudara, harm be done to it. Yudara, harm be done to it. Katibun, scribe. Katibun, scribe. Wala, and not. Shahidun, witness. Wa in taf'alu, and if you do. Fa innahu, then it is. Fa innahu, then it surely. Fa innahu, then it surely. Fusuqum, disobedience. Fusuqum, disobedience, become with you. Wattaqullaha, and fear Allah. Wa yuallimukumullah, wa and yuallimukumullah, he teaches you. Allah. If you fear Allah, then Allah will teach you. Wallahu, and Allah. Alimun, and Allah. Alimun, wallahu, and Allah. Bikulli, with all. Shay'in, things. Alim, all knowing. And Allah is knowing. Allah is all aware. Allah is all knowing of all things. Now I'll read out the English running translation, and then I'll give one or two pointers from this verse. O ye who believe, when you borrow one from one another for a fixed period, then write it down, and let a scribe write it in your presence faithfully. And no scribe should refuse to write, because Allah has taught him. So let him write, and let him who incurs the liability dictate. And he should fear Allah, his Lord, and not diminish anything therefrom. But if the person incurring the liability be of low understanding, or be weak, or be unable himself to dictate, then let someone who can watch his interest dictate with justice, and call two witnesses from among your men, and if two men be not available, then a man and two women, of such as you like, as witnesses, so that if either of two women should err in memory, then one may remind the other, and the witnesses should not refuse when they are called, and do not feel weary of writing it down, whether it be a small, whether it be small or large, along with its appointed time of payment. This is more equitable in the sight of Allah, and makes testimony surer, is more likely to keep away from doubts. Therefore, omit not to write except that it be ready much merchandise, which you give or take from hand to hand, in which case it shall be no sin for you that you write it not, and have witnesses when you sell one to another, and let no harm be done to the scribe or the witness. And if you do that, then certainly it shall be disobedience on your part, and fear Allah, and Allah grants the knowledge, and Allah grants you knowledge, and Allah knows all things well. So in this particular verse, a very important instruction has been given. Often in our culture, if someone is asking or borrowing money, then there is nothing is written down. That's against the teachings of this particular verse and teachings of Allah the Almighty. Many a times we say, oh, he's our relative, he's our younger brother or older brother. Oh, it's matter between families. We do not pay attention to this particular instruction of Allah the Almighty. Then what leads to is that sometimes Satan um, attacks such people, and they refuse to pay. And again, that's the disadvantage of not following the teaching of Allah the Almighty. The other, sometime an allegation which is raised against Islam, that Islam does not consider the testimony of a man and a woman equal. Here in this verse, first of all, the testimony is mentioned with regards to only financial transaction. And the second, whenever there are two women are mentioned, the second woman is there to remind one if she forgets. So the witness is only one. The other one is there to support, as a support role, to remind her if she forgets. So that's the two things I wanted to highlight. Last verse of today. First, we will read out the verse. وَإِن كُنتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا فَرِهَانٌ مَقْبُوضَةٌ فَإِنْ آمِنَ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا فَلْيُؤَدِّ الَّذِي اؤْتُمِنَ أَمَانَتَهُ وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ وَمَنْ يَكْتُمْهَا فَإِنَّهُ آثِمٌ قَلْبُهُ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ. وَإِنْ, and if, kuntum, you were, ala safarin, on journey, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ, and if you are traveling, وَلَمْ, and not tajidu, you find katiban, a scribe. If you're traveling and you do not find a scribe, farihanun, then pledge, security. Maqbuda, something that is in possession. Maqbuda, something that is in possession. Again, the word rehan is also used, or rehen, sorry. Rehen is also used in Urdu, coming from the same Arabic root. Maqbuda is also used, as we say, maqbuza. So if we pay, especially from the Urdu background, pay close attention to the words, we would know half of the meaning already. Farihanun, then pledge. Maqbuda, something that is in possession. Fa'in, and if. Amina, Amina, he entrusted. Amina, he entrusted. Ba'dukum, some of you. Ba'dan, some. Fal yu'addi, then he surrenders. Fal yu'addi, this is a new word, please familiarize yourself. Fal yu'addi, then he surrenders. Alladhi, he who, zittumina, he was entrusted. He was entrusted. Amanatahu, amanatahu, his trust. Wal yattakillah, and he showed fear of Allah. Wal yattakillah, he showed fear of Allah, Rabbahu, his Lord, wala, and not taktumu shahada. Wala, not taktumu, you conceal, you hide. Ash-shahada, testimony. Wala taktumu shahada, and do not conceal the testimony. Waman, who, yaktumha, and who conceals it, فَإِنَّهُ, then surely he, آثِمٌ, it's sinful. آثِمٌ, sinful. قَلْبُهُ, his heart. قَلْبُهُ, his heart. Then his heart is sinful. وَاللَّهُ, and Allah, bima, with what, ta'maluna, you do, alim, all knowing. Whatever you do, Allah is very well aware of it. Running translation. And if you be on a journey and you find not a scribe, then let there be a pledge with possession. And if one of you entrusts another with something, then let him who is entrusted surrender his trust, and let him fear Allah, his Lord, and conceal not testimony, and whoever conceals it, his heart is certainly sinful, and Allah is well aware of what you do. So in this particular verse of the Holy Quran, Allah the Almighty, just explaining more another scenario in case where you cannot find a scribe, then something has to be given to that person so that he can keep that in his possession and until the one returns his money. And then again, emphasis had been made, as was made in the last verse, wala taktumu shahada, do not conceal the testimony. Again, a lot of emphasis had been given. Even in the last verse, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned that the witnesses and the katib or the scribe should be given security and they should not be harmed. So with this, inshallah, we'll join again next week. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim innaka hamidun majid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.